Hello everyone, back tuning into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days. For today's video is going to take us into the start of April. Just a few hints that things could get a little bit colder next week. So, perhaps very mild March so far. It hasn't really felt all that mild, though, with such strong winds as we had in the first half of the month. But we will have a very pleasant spell of weather coming up in the next few days. That lasts to the end of the week. Over the weekend it's going to go a bit cooler, but next week we might start to bring down some actual cold air from the north. There is a bit of uncertainty about this, just depends how far north and west will push a high pressure, but I'll talk about it in a second. Just say that yesterday we released our third summer analogues update, so that's quite an interesting watch. Have a look at it. It's on the summer updates and forecast page now. And also yesterday we released the ECMWF Meteo France and DWD seasonal model update. That takes us through the spring and into the summer. So have a look at those two updates. And, of course, there's also Gazzo's Sunny Roundup as well. So have a look at all of the updates if you haven't caught up yet. Right, so we'll get on with the video for today. These are the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from the Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF here on the top. And the GFS, which you'll have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars is an area in the absolute high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. Red extrapolates to high pressure and blue to low pressure. So in these are the mean flow charts for the next week to 10 days. So in the week 10 day time frame, we've got an area of above average heights to our west southwest, and then we've got an area of below average heights to our north and northeast. It's going to send the jet stream on a northwest southeast alignment like that. Now it's not overly unsettled. I don't think there'll be too much in the way of rain with this, but it could be quite cool, quite chilly, and especially going to next week, we might start to actually bring down some sort of air from the north, and that could be quite cold. So we're into April, of course, next week. We don't really want cold conditions, as it could well be a little bit nasty for fruit growers, for example. Farmers and growers may need to watch out for some quite sharp night frost next week. But of course, it's quite common for this to happen in April. It's a very fickle month, April, and you can get some quite sharp frost in April. You can even get snow, of course, sometimes in April. The GFS is very similar. So again, we've got this area of below average heights up to the north, and then we've got the above average heights out to our west, southwest. Again, we've got the jet stream on a northwest southeast alignment, rather like that. And again, you would be expected to entrench some cooler air, certainly, into this flow. And if this high pressure reaches northwards enough, so if this high pressure sort of pushes up into that area, then that will start to force down really quite cold air from the north. So just need to watch out what's going to happen as we go through next week. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. We're looking at Camborne, down in the far southwest of the country today. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Camborne. No problems over the next few days. Temperatures are going to be lifting up. It's going to be a very mild spring-like week coming up. Starting off a bit chilly today, but by about middle of the week and into the second half week, it will be actually quite mild. Into weekend and next week, though, this is a sliding temperature that we've got to watch out for. There are quite a few GFS ensemble members now that are going down, only for a couple of days, but going down to kind of like between -5 and -10 at 850 HPA. That's quite cold for April, and it would be enough to certainly produce night frost, maybe even for northern parts of the country, a little bit of snow. I doubt there'd be any snow down in Camborne near the Atlantic, of course, but further north, you wouldn't rule out some snow showers, actually. So this is only lasting a couple of days, so it doesn't look like it'll last all that long, but round start of next week might get a bit cold. Beyond that, we see the temperatures lifting back up towards the 30-year upper air temperature average, although there is a lot of scatter, so there are a few ensemble members that keep things quite cold, but more of them generally are going milder through this first week of April, and really quite dry conditions as well. That's the other big story, really. So through to the end of March, barely any precipitation at all, and even into the early part of April, it takes quite a long while for those precipitation spikes to reappear. So it looks like we're going to keep high pressure in control, really. The only difference is that high pressure is going to be more out to the north and west of the country, which might leave us with some colder air drifting in from the north and from the northwest. Temperature anomalies are reflecting this. This is a temperature anomaly from the 25th of March to the 2nd of April. It's actually a little bit cooler than average for much of the UK and Ireland. Actually, many central western parts of Europe also looking quite cool as well in the week ahead. So it's certainly a bit chillier in the next few days, and still very dry. So from the precipitation anomaly from the 25th of March to the 2nd of April, still quite significantly drier than average for many parts of the UK and Ireland and much of Western Europe as well. So this is how the GFS 6 o'clock run, operational run, is looking for Thursday. We're under a ridge of high pressure. It could be very pleasant temperatures into mid to upper teens Celsius. That's still with us as we go through into Friday. But by Saturday, you notice high pressure is beginning to sort of pull apart. So we're taking some of the high pressure over towards eastern and southeastern parts of Europe, and some of it is pushing out into the Atlantic. There's a cold front that's moving down from the northwest, and so it's going to be a very weak cold front because it's running into high pressure, so it'll only be a band of cloud and showery rain, but it probably lowers the temperature over the weekend. So by the time we get through to Sunday, we're still under high pressure. High pressure is still dominating, but it's a different air mass. It's bringing the air down from kind of like the north, so it will be quite a bit cooler already as we go into the weekend. Then that high pressure slips down over the country through the early part of next week before it starts to push out to the northwest again. This is the key point really around Tuesday, Wednesday next week. How far west and north do we push this high pressure? This GFS run has a high pressure just to the west of Ireland, so the main core of the cold air is actually passing just to our east. But if this high pressure was to go a little bit further northwards, become centred somewhere around here, then that will back the northerly down into the UK and Ireland. So we've just got to keep a close eye on how far north and west that area of high pressure is getting. As it is, it will be quite chilly, I think, through the early and middle part of next week. That's how things look at day 10. So again, this is the 4th of April, day 10, 240 hours away. Again, the core of the cold air is passing through Scandinavia down into central, northern and eastern Europe. We're just on the edges of it under this area of high pressure. In the more extended range, the high pressure just continues to sit out to the northwest of the country, which does allow pretty cold air really to filter around the edge of that high pressure. We finish up with this GFS run actually looking quite blocked. We're beginning to take the high pressure up towards Scandinavia, and we are pulling in something of an east or northeasterly wind. That looks like quite a cold northeasterly wind as well on the upper air temperatures. You see we're sitting within pretty chilly air. So could we be facing quite a cool, maybe cold sort of start to April? We'll have to wait and see. It's early days on that, but certainly the GFS has moved quite a bit today towards something rather colder through the early part of April. The GFS parallel run looks like that. So again, we're under this warm ridge of high pressure on Thursday, and that still goes into Friday. Over the weekend, high pressure continues to dominate, but we drop a cold front south through the high pressure, which lowers the temperature, pushes the temperature down, but still under high pressure, so all that happens is that temperatures drop, but it's still mainly dry with plenty of settled weather. Into next week, the high pressure starts to edge out to the west of the country with the parallel GFS run. We're moving up towards day 10 with the high pressure still sitting very close to the country, so over top of the country there on Thursday, the 4th of April. Quite chilly air under that high pressure, certainly cold enough for some night frost. But it's mainly dry by day, very pleasant conditions, you would say, by day. In the more extended range, this is how parallel GFS run looks. So eventually it does get this high pressure up towards Greenland and Iceland. And we finish up actually putting down some surprisingly cold air. The minus 10 Celsius ice berm is pushing down through the country there on the 10th of April. That's a really long way off. It's over 2 weeks away. But it's the sort of thing that could happen if that high pressure was to go far enough north north and west. So just hints at the moment about this. Certainly the early part of April is going to be cooler compared to what we've got coming up in the next few days. But how cold it will get, whether there will be any wintry potential with that, is really unknown at this point. And obviously we'll be keeping a close eye on it over the next few days. The ECMWF is again showing us under this warm ridge on Thursday. That ridge is still with us into Friday. Over the weekend we keep high pressure in control, but we drop a cold front southwards through the high pressure, which lowers the temperature, pushes temperature back down close to average, probably with some chilly nights. That lasting to the beginning of next week. Then we go to more extended range, where we start to turn things quite unsettled and colder. So the high pressure pushes out further into the Atlantic, which opens the door to this northwesterly, eventually possibly even northerly wind. That's how the upper air temperatures are looking quite cold again as we get through to the middle of next week. So some sort of cold snap could be on the way for next week, but how cold it would get, how long it would last, all of those sort of questions, we're just going to wait and see how this develops over the next few days, I think. These are the options that are on the table within the ECM ensembles. This is from the Icelandic Met Office. These are the options on the table for day 10, which is the 4th of April. So we've got 16 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure out to our west on the 4th of April, day 10. Low pressure below average heights to the east. And we're bringing down quite a chilly northwesterly wind with those. That includes the ECM control run as well. We've got 14 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure kind of like to the south of us. So those ones also looking quite chilly. We're certainly on the cool side of the jet stream with them. I've got 9 that have high pressure just to west of Ireland, low pressure to the east and northeast. Again, they're quite chilly, bringing down the wind from a northwesterly to northerly flow. That includes the ECM operational run, the run that we was just looking at. Then we've got 6 members of the ECM ensemble that are milder. They've got low pressure up to the north, high pressure to the south-southeast. So they're bringing up more of a southwesterly flow. And then we've got 6 members of the ECM ensemble that are just very unsettled with a trough of low pressure over top of the country. Probably quite chilly, but they're more unsettled, those scenarios. So there's a lot of options on the table, but overall it does look as though sometime around the middle of next week, this is before April, of course, that's like middle of next week, does look as though there's probably going to be some sort of cold snap anyway. That's how things look in 2 weeks' time. So this takes us to 360 hours. This is the 9th of April. So you have 27 members of the ECM ensembles, including the ECM control run, that have low pressure out to the south-southwest of us. And also got a Scandinavian high pressure sitting up over Scandinavia. That'll be pulling in an east or southeasterly wind. Now, if it's southeasterly, probably going to be relatively mild. If it's easterly to northeasterly, then it could still be quite cold. From that view, you can't really tell where the origins of the air would be coming from. And that's going to make a big difference when you get through to April. If it's kind of like north of east, then you can still get really quite cold weather. If it's sort of south of east, then the temperature will be relatively mild, maybe even fairly warm. So a very subtle difference will make a really big difference by this point of the year, by April. Then there's also 24 members of the ECM ensembles that kind of like have a ridge of high pressure building up from the southwest. So they're a milder option. Obviously, they're bringing the wind in from the Atlantic Ocean, so they're quite spring-like and quite pleasant. So just going to wait and see how this is going to play out over the next few days. Obviously, we'll be focusing on it in the videos in the coming week. And then this is how the CFS is looking. So these are 500 millibar heights broken down into week periods. The first week period takes us from the 25th of March through to the 31st, the final day of the month, with the above average heights centred over a little bit to the west of the country. High pressure is in control, low pressure is up to the north. The jet stream is pushed off up there. So relatively dry, mild, maybe even quite warm at times. In the next few days. Week 2 is the 1st to the 7th of April, with the above average heights over and a little bit more towards the northeast of the country. Low pressure, you'll notice, is developing down across southern Europe, so this could be starting to squeeze wind into the east. So Still a lot of dry weather on offer, but maybe colder there through the first week of April. Then we've got week 3, which is the 8th to the 14th of April. High pressure firmly ensconced over Scandinavia, so the wind is in from an easterly direction. That could be quite chilly, but again, a lot of settled weather. And then we go through to week 4, which is the 15th to 21st of April, still dominated by high pressure over to the northeast country. High pressure is actually going a bit further north, so this is kind of like bringing wind in now more from a northeasterly direction, so that could be quite cold as well. Just depends how far north that area of high pressure is going. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead. This is from the 25th through to 31st of March. Much milder than average, no problem with the temperature in week ahead. But then we go through to week 2. It does go quite a bit colder, actually. This is the 1st to the 7th of April, hinting at being a little bit below average, particularly for England and Wales. Some parts of Central Europe looking quite chilly in that week as well. Then week 3, it's the 8th to the 14th of April, a little bit milder than average in that week, and then that continues into week 4 as well. I'm not sure about that, but it would depend again whether the origins of the air is north of east or south of east. It's going to make a very big difference if we're talking about easterlies in April as to where the origins of those easterlies are coming from. Precipitation anomalies in the week ahead from the 25th to 31st of March, much drier than average. Week 2 also, 1st to 7th of April, week 2 also looking drier than average. Week 3, losing a signal. Signals weakening as it always does for weeks 3 and 4 with precipitation. This is the 8th to the 14th of April. I don't think we got much of a signal, and not really much of a signal for week 4 either, 15th to 21st of April. If anything, possibly a little bit on the drier than average side. It does look as though high pressure is going to be dominating April, but it appears that this area of high pressure is going to change its position and possibly allow some cooler or even colder air in through certainly the first days of the month. Could go a little bit colder, but we will be keeping you posted about it, of course, in the next few days at Gazovitz. This will be the focus of the videos in the next few days. Finally, if you're enjoying the videos of the content at Gazovitz, please can you consider becoming a patron for Gazovitz. So it's Gazovitz Patreon page. We've got 61 patrons so far. Hello, a big thank you to all of our 61 patrons for Gazovitz. If you would like to become a patron for Gazovitz, all you need to do is come to the Gazovitz Patreon page. You sign up for a Patreon account, and by doing that you will become a patron for Gazovitz. You can pledge an ongoing monthly donation to Gazovitz. It can be anything from $1 a month upwards, so it doesn't have to be a large amount of money whatsoever. By doing that, you become a patron to Gazovitz. You'll join with all of the other patrons, and we'll give you a shout out in the videos to say thank you very much for becoming a patron for Gazovitz. So thanks so much to all of the patrons that we've got so far, all 61. And then, of course, there's also PayPal. So if you'd rather just give a one-off donation, all you need to do is come to the Gazovitz PayPal page, sign into your PayPal account, and you can give a one-off donation to Gazovitz. Again, you get a mention in the videos. We'll say thank you very much for your donation. And I've just got to get the phone. Sorry about that. Okay, phone answered. Sorry about that, everyone. So yeah, just to finish the video, so we was talking about PayPal. If you'd like to become a donor for PayPal, for Gazovitz through PayPal, then all you need to do, come to the Gazovitz PayPal page, sign up to your PayPal account, to sign into your PayPal account, and then send a one-off donation to Gazovitz. By doing that, you're going to get a mention in the videos. We'll say thank you very much for doing that. And of course, you might not want to donate a mention for yourself, but you might want to mention for your business or website. We're happy to do that. We'll even show your website if you would like us to. So if you want to do it, and just say a big thank you to all of the donors and all of the patrons for Gazovitz. You're helping us to pay the website and keep the content online. So big thank you to everybody for doing that. We're primarily ads funded, but just another revenue stream as ad revenues are dropping year by year for various reasons, but I won't go into right now. Right, so that is it for today's video. Hope you found it interesting and informative. The big takeaway from the model output at the moment is that we're going to have quite a warm and dry week for this week, but it is going to be turning cooler over weekend. Next week we might get some genuinely quite cold air in from the north, but there is uncertainty about that, as I think we've explained in the video, just how far north and west this area of high pressure is going, and it will be the focus of the videos, I think, in the next few days. Now tomorrow we'll have another week 10-day video update where of course we'll be looking at the chance of cold weather for early April as well. We're also going to have the ECMWF 30-day look ahead, so that was put on the back burner last week, but it's back this week. It's back tomorrow, so that'll be the first video up for you tomorrow morning. Right, that's all for now though, and thanks for watching.